Chris, good to see you. A really interesting topic today. We have 5 steps for tax-free Roth IRA distributions. The benefit of funding a Roth IRA is the availability of tax-free distributions in the future. But surprisingly enough, these rules can be very complicated. So let's break it all down. First step is you need to follow the ordering rules. What does this mean?
Yeah, so we deal a lot with Roth conversions, especially this time of year. So we're going to talk more about the conversion side. Is you know if you make a Roth conversion, you have to work on a 5-year clock that we'll get into. But
Hmm.
when you make a withdrawal from a Roth IRA account, and let's say you're 60 years old, those the contributions you put into, you've already paid the tax on that money. You can pull that out at any time, at any age, without a penalty. So even if you
Hmm.
were 55 years old, you could withdraw your contributions, and the contributions come out first.
Hmm. And what's after the contributions?
Yep. Then the earnings come in after that. And that's where things can get a little tricky because the Roth IRA needs to be established for 5 years uh, so that those earnings come out income tax free.
Yeah. Okay. And this all bears repeating because, again, it's complicated. You just touched on this, but your contributions, you can always pull those out tax and penalty free.
That is correct. Yep. At any age, you can pull out those contributions and conversions that you've put in.
Mhm. All right. Next, you need to watch out for the 10% penalty on converted funds. Converted funds are always distributed tax free, but that doesn't mean you can tap the money before 59 and a half without a penalty.
That is correct. Yep. And that's where it starts to get a little confusing here is, so you converted $50,000, it grew to 60,000 and you decided to, and you turned 59 and a half and you decided to pull all your money out of there. You're going to pay a 10% penalty on the earnings because
Mhm.
the converted amount hasn't been established for 5 years.
Mhm. And then that brings us to our next step, which is know when the earnings are tax free. We have to meet a few requirements here for those earnings to be tax free. What are they?
Yep, that's correct. So let's say I'm 58 years old. I convert money into my Roth IRA from my traditional IRA. That I cannot pull those earnings out for 5 years unless death or disability, and that allows that to happen. But
Mm-hmm.
again, think of that 5-year clock, and it can get tricky for sure. And that's on every conversion as well.
Right. So let's get into the weeds on that a little bit. Buckle up, everybody. Understand the 5-year clock for qualified distributions of earnings. And as we are clearly laying out here, this 5-year clock can be confusing. What do we need to know?
Yeah, and it really can. And so, I tell people here, especially on like a video like this, is look, if you're going to get into a Roth conversion strategy, just try to go into it with a 5-year mindset that you're not going
Right.
to pull the earnings out for 5 years. Your principal can come out at any time. And again, depending on what age you are when you do those conversions. So if you're 58 years old, you have to have those cannot withdraw those earnings out for 5 years. And that goes with every conversion that you make as well.
Right. So start and open that Roth and do the conversion sooner rather than later. And
Yeah.
we wanted to share a bonus tip, Chris. If you are younger than 59 and a half, make sure you pay the tax on conversions with outside after tax money to avoid that 10% early withdrawal penalty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Erin. And if you owe some taxes on those converted amounts, you want to make sure you have enough money sitting in the bank account, checking
Right.
account to pay the taxes. So if you took 50,000 from your IRA and moved it into your Roth IRA, have some outside money to pay the taxes on that 50,000. Don't do it from the IRA because you weren't 59 and a half to make a distribution to the IRS. Sounds
Yeah.
crazy, doesn't it?
It does. And I'm so glad, Chris, that you had time to talk this through with me today because, the headline to me sounds like, well, of course, tax free with a Roth. That's the benefit of a Roth, right? But when we get into the nitty gritty, it really is wild, all these rules. So clearly it's complicated. If somebody wants to sit down with you, talk about opening that Roth, converting funds to Roth, earnings, all the rules and regulations, what's the best way to reach you with questions?
Yeah, I'd call Heidi, set up a consultation, 419-332-0532. You can also visit McIntyreRetirementServices.com, and we can tell you about the 5-year clock then.
Yes. Sit down, pour a cup of coffee. Chris, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Erin. Thank you.
Tune into Chris McIntire's full radio program and visit McIntireRetirementServices.com for many additional valuable resources, including other great episodes of Game Plan for Retirement with Chris McIntire. Be sure to subscribe.